Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel and to another map call out video. Today we're having a look at Canals. In this series I like to give you the most accurate and common call out locations from my experience in the competitive scene of Rogue Company, so you and your team can use them and communicate a little bit more effectively to hopefully win some more games. If you do go on to enjoy the video or just want to see daily educational Rogue Company content, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel, but for now, let's get into it. As always, I'll just remind you that these are the most common names I hear within the competitive scene. If you have a different name for these locations that you use within your own team, feel free to use them. These just show you the locations that you need to have a name for regardless, and if you don't have a name for, you can use these ones I recommend. Starting then with the basics of Canals, we have the two bomb sites B and A located here on red for you to see. Both these sites are actually really close to the defender's side of the map, meaning the time it takes for attackers to get there and rotate between the sites is really long. So for defenders, you need to be making sure you're taking advantage of that. What that means for the map callouts though is that the majority of the fighting callouts you'll need revolve around this lower half of the map. There are some callouts for names up here that I will go over just so you're aware of, but generally it's the closer ones that you're going to need to know the most. We then have the attacker's spawn, or attacker's CT as it's commonly referred to. That would of course then lead on to the defense spawn or the defense CT. Now that we'll go on to the main locations, and these are the names that you need to know to give your team the most accurate callouts in the small play-by-plays that occur on this map. We're going to start with B long, which is the longer angled side that comes from the approach for attackers down onto the B site. This is a really crucial angle to hold and one that you need to be playing off quite a lot. On the flip side, you have B short, which is of course the shorter angle that leads onto B. This actually connects through mid, so it's sometimes referred to as B cut, B connector, mid cut, or mid connector. You then have the location that goes further away from B into the attacker's spawn, and this is a very unused location. It's rarely called out because it's lack of use within demolition matches, but if you do want to know the name call out for it, it is known generally as boathouse in my experience. And this particular angle here, the longer bit that stretches down here, you may refer to being as called boathouse long, or the approach to B, given the area that it comes down. As we then move on to the central location within the map, this is generally referred to as mid and is a big connection point from the two spawns. As we then move on to the A side of the map, you have this large area that connects the attacker's spawn straight onto the A site, and it's actually generally an unnamed location. It just tends to be common sense when people are coming from A that they're coming from this location, so it isn't often called out, but when I have heard it called out, it's often referred to as the ship or the A approach. It is technically split into two different sections. You have the upper A approach or upper ship, and then the lower ship, which is when you go down the staircase or jump through the window, just for a little bit more precision in your callouts there. The main A locations you're going to want to know and call out though are going to be A long, also known as A corridor, which is as you come out of the ship down the left hand side from the attacker's point of view, you go down this long corridor. It's a really important longer angle to hold, and if you get control of it, it can be quite important to transition into a good A push and A bomb plant. And then lastly on A, you have the A short, also referred to as A connector or A cut, which transitions from mid onto the A side of the map. One little added extra, I realized when I was going through the editing that I didn't actually name this location. The reason I didn't is because it's not played around very much in a way that you would need to actually call it out. It's more like of an area people run through, not an area someone stays to fight. But just for the sake of added extra information for you guys, this area would be called the yard. Those though are the main locations that you do need main callouts for on this map, as they'll really help your team focus in on the locations where enemies are. We'll now go over a few little points of interest, some very small locations that also help with that precision that I'll go over now. There aren't many, but there are three that I think are quite important for you to know. The first one of these is going to be the orange container you see here, and this translates from the defender side spawn onto the A site as their main route to go through there. It's a big orange container and is just useful for defenders normally to call out a flank, or when attackers get onto the site and hold it, for them to give that call out that they're approaching from the orange container. Similarly, if we move on to the B site, you have the space right at the back, which is the transition from the defender's side spawn onto the B site. This is known as the blue container due to the big blue container that's there, and again is an often big point of contention when you're approaching the B site as attackers and when you try and defend it from the defender's point of view. And then lastly, I really wanted to highlight this area going even further back behind the blue container. This is actually a lower drop down area and is known as lower platform. Now, this isn't used very often, but when it is, it's a really big surprise location. So the reason I wanted to give you a call out for it is so that when someone's down there and you've been killed by them, you try to call out to your team, or you just see them down there, you have an accurate location to call out rather than being in the panic and fumbling over your words. Not a lot of people have a call out for this location, so I want you guys to have one. And in my opinion, it should be called something like lower platform or drop down. Now that's going to be the main call out locations for Canals, but remember there is an element of common sense when it comes to call outs. You need to be able to adapt the call outs to say specific areas within what I've given you. For example, the front of B site or the back of B site, the left of B site, going around this particular container. Use your common sense, use your map knowledge to also try and give some additional call outs. So as much information you give to your team that is relevant is going to be important to help you win the game. Now though, I'm going to take you on through a walkthrough of Canals, giving you the locations above as we cross through them so you can see a really in-depth visual picture of what these look like in-game. Okay then guys, that takes us to the end of the video, and if you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also come follow me on twitch.tv/radthargaming, see live gameplay commentaries, guides, Q&As, and playing with viewers. All the links you're going to need are down in the description below. But for now guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll catch you in the next video.